Welcome back to the Life of PHYS Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. On this episode, I'm sitting down with photographer, traveler, and wave chaser Daniel Alberdeston. Daniel's story is one I really connect with. At the center of it all is something simple, a camera that has always been there. From disposable film cameras to digital systems, Daniel has carried a camera with him for as long as he can remember. For him, it's never really been about the gear. It's about capturing the moment before it's gone. Alongside photography, Daniel has spent much of his life in the ocean as a dedicated bodyboarder. And that deep connection to the water naturally evolved into a passion for surf photography. Anyone who has ever tried to photograph the ocean knows it's not easy. Timing, patience, and a deep respect for the power of the water all come into play. Daniel is also the creator behind Mundo Rad, a platform that celebrates wave riding culture, travel, and the community around bodyboarding and surfing. Through Mundo Rad TV and photography, Daniel has built a space that highlights the energy and spirit of life around the ocean. His work is connected with brands and publications across the surf world, including Wave Riding Vehicles, Wax Magazine, and most recently Session Magazine issue number 10. He also works closely with tools made for photographers who are willing to step directly into the action, including SPL Water Housings out of San Diego. In this conversation, we talk about travel, chasing waves, photography, and the mindset it takes to keep creating over the long haul. We also talk about the connection between the ocean and creativity, and why some photographers are always pulled back to the water with a camera in hand. Because at the end of the day, photography and wave riding share something in common. You can't force it, you have to be patient, you have to be present, and when it matters most, you have to be ready. Now let's get to the show.
My name is Daniel Alberdeston. I'm from Puerto Rico. I was born here in 1970. We're on the same age. But I left here when I was 2 years old. My mother worked for the government. My father was in the army. So we moved. I have no recollection of the ocean or anything as a youth. I didn't come back to Puerto Rico until like the late 80s. And then I saw the ocean and I just fell in love with it. And my mom was like afraid of the water because she almost drowned when she was a little girl and she didn't want me getting in the water. So I was always sneaking out of the house and finding ways to get to the beach.
It's amazing the power of connection you can have to the ocean. The drive, the way it will pull you in, and you just want to be near it because you can feel the power that it carries. It's such for me, going back to 2 Octobers ago, I went down to Lincoln City on the Oregon coast, and I got to put my feet back in the sand that I used to walk with my grandma. So to me, like, I hadn't been back to the Oregon coast in 22 years at that point. And I'm only 7 hours from it where I am now. This life got in the way, but as soon as my feet touched that sand, I was like I was a 6 or 7 year old kid again, walking and looking for agates and seashells with my grandma. And it like, I pride myself on being like, you know what? My life was tough when I was growing up. My grandma was my rock in my sounding post, and she and my grandpa took me away from it every weekend. But man, I remember it let me remember the last time I walked that stretch of beach with her before she passed away. And I think I went into kind of like a weird shock moment. I was very quiet. I'm not usually a quiet person. I like to have fun and like joke around, but I was just kind of stoic. And my wife was like, what's going on? And I didn't know how to explain it to her. It actually just came to me now that it was those memories of my grandma and how many times we had walked this stretch of beach and how much freedom they had given me to learn about the ocean and explore the area without ever complaining that it took too long, and how patient they were with me. So it's crazy to me that Oregon coast means so much. And there's so many things that I need to go back and capture those memories, or even my thoughts, record my thoughts in the places that I remember as a child.
It's just they're always there with you, and your grandmother's always there with you. So that's something that will always return.
it was a very powerful moment. And this year is all about accepting these moments and these memories that come to me instead of trying to fight them, trying to be like, oh, I don't want to remember that. But now, good, bad, doesn't matter. Those memories are coming back for a reason. And they're coming back because I'm at a point, I believe, where I can actually handle them properly.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to babble there, but that connection with the ocean.
Wonderful connection. I think we all have that us diehards that we just have to be. I mean, I start my day every morning with the rising sun, and it's just a wonderful thing to experience that every day. And that feeling of the sand, the cool over your feet, just through your toes. It's just a wonderful feeling. It's just you're connected 100% with nature.
Yes. So Daniel, do you remember when the camera started to become a big part of your life?
My story is kind of, it's going to go back and forth, but there isn't, because of what happened when I served in the U.S. Marine Corps. I had an accident when I was serving. I lost memory of my childhood, even my teenage years. But from the little things I remember, and from the time I had with my mom before she passed away 5 years ago, and my sisters, and there's just this one photo that I have that just doesn't go away. But we always, because we were always traveling, we were on one military base and we were another military base. But our family always carried cameras because they were always taking pictures and putting them in photo albums. It was more like a hobbyist kind of thing. So growing up, I don't remember those Kodak cameras with the cube on top, Instamatic.
The 110.
Yeah, that's what I remember having as a kid. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was just snapping away.
I liked them for the flash. I like how it turned.
Yeah.
And you're like, so I would go through and blow up all my mom's flashes just with no film, just because I liked the flash, and then it would turn so I could do it again.
But yeah, so we always had camera, and my mom loved photography. But I never really found, like, it was never something that I thought I was gonna do. I got out. I wanted to travel. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to serve my country. And then maybe if that was a possibility, I was going to be a photographer. So I guess I'm going to just flow and just tell you, in 92, I was 92, I was enlisted in the Marine Corps. I was on one of the training obstacle courses, and I fell from a 40-foot tower, a 20-foot tower, and I hit my head. After that trauma, I ended up with epilepsy. So I was discharged, but with having seizures every day, and I was having an enormous amount of seizures that were, then your whole body, what happens, it just crashes, your brain crashes as everything, and it brings on depression. So when I was in Hawaii in 2003, and in 2003 I applied for this program that the VA offered called vocational rehab, and the program offered a camera to rehabilitate veterans to get back into civilian society, life. That turned out to get me out of the depression that I was in, because it was like a doorway to well, I'm done photographing everything in the house. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to take pictures of things. And then when you see the pictures and you see them on your computer, just joy happens, happiness happens, and depression goes away, sadness goes away. So my connection to photography, honestly, didn't kick in until then. And since then, I've been a photographer.
That is amazing. First of all, thank you for, joining the Marine Corps. My father was a Marine veteran, Vietnam. So thank you. But yeah, the head trauma, that fall, I may suffer of 20 plus major concussions thanks to football, skateboarding, cycling, thinking you can jump big jumps and not making it. So I know in my heart that is why that I have these days where I don't want to be around anybody. I know that is what causes me. I don't have seizures. I couldn't even imagine what that was like, but I've started to really pay attention. So when I wake up, I know what kind of day it's going to be. But through the show, sharing my story, getting a therapist, getting on the medications that I'm on now, my life's getting better every day. And it's one of those things where if you would ask me this 4 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have been like, I don't need medication. Nothing can break me. Just keep piling it on. No problem. I can carry it. I got big shoulders. Let's do this. And a few years ago, I had, right after the show started, and I actually shared my story for the first time about my childhood. I wrote a post that said, I always prided myself on being the strongest warrior in the room, to pile on everything that you could ever pile on me, because there's not anything in this world that can break me. I did everything I could to make sure my children were safe. I raised them on my own for 10 years. But this warrior's tired now. And it's time for me to work on me. And it was like that epiphany moment, you know what I mean? Having that clarity enough at that moment to write that. And it popped up a few months ago on my memories, and still working on it, but I'm definitely on the right track now.
And you hit on something. I mean, we're all brave, we're all strong.
Truth.
But we're not superhuman.
Yep.
And if you get out of the military and it's all you're supposed to be is brave, go out, go 100%. And I felt the same thing, like, oh, it's just seizures. I'll get knocked out for a few minutes, then I'll come and wake up later and I'll just go on about my day. And for the longest time, I was like that, just not wanting to give in to having a disability or being labeled for something, the stigma that was attached to depression, to anything. But after a while, you have to just have that epiphany, like you have that realization, that self-realization that you are not, that no matter what's going on with you, you are still the same person. You're still beautiful inside, and you still deserve the best, and your family deserves the best.
So, you being in Hawaii with a camera, I mean, the ocean and surfing is right there.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how this progress as a surf photographer started to happen.
Yeah, but the thing with that was, it was interesting. I went to Hawaii. I had just finished college. I was in DC with my family, my sisters, my mom, and I said, I'm done studying. I got my degree finally. I'm just gonna go and travel. So I was always a bodyboarder, a surfer, a waterman, and I just didn't think when I got to Hawaii, I'd see these photographers with these $20,000 lenses, and I thought, well, I'd love to do that, but I don't know if I can afford the gear. And it just kind of like, it was like a dream. It didn't happen when I was there that way. I was more like, I was shooting pictures of birds, sunsets, but the actual action for surfing and stuff didn't actually happen when I came and moved back to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I wish I still, I was listening to your interview with Christian Monk, and I was thinking to myself that I got to go back to Hawaii. So, I mean, I'm planning on going next winter and spending winter, because I'd love to finally get some surf action shots with my camera there.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite interviews. I love Krista.
She's so funny. She's a really good person.
We were so tired. It was late here because I'm 2 hours ahead. I think it was 9 o'clock her time. So it was 11 o'clock here. I had done 4 other podcast recordings that day, and she had been editing all day. So by the time we got to her interview, we were both kind of loopy, and our personalities just clicked. So it was a really fun hour and a half of like talking to an old friend and just making jokes the whole time. And been a very well received episode.
Very well. And she's a good inspiration, real inspiration. She's a really good photographer.
Yeah.
And the hours that she puts in a pipe is pretty heavy. It's a heavy wave.
Yes. Yeah. She deserves all the accolades she gets. She is a true water person, and she puts in the time, the effort, and has a pure love for it. So, you can't ask for much better.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't.
So did you start by shooting off the beach when you started shooting surf?
When I first started, I started shooting off the beach. Yeah. I hurt myself. I was surfing here at a short break, and I hit the sandbar, and I got a raised collarbone where my collarbone stayed kind of stretched. And for for a whole season, I was just walking around with my lens and my camera and taking pictures on a tripod. And that's how I started. Then gradually down the line, I got myself a water housing, and then I just started swimming, and I fell in love with the swimming because it just feels like there's so many more angles that you can get from the water, and there's only so many angles that you can get from the beach with a telephoto lens. And there's so much more intimacy when you're in the water. It really makes me feel like I'm with the surfers, and I'm also kind of surfing. I'm within the action. The other thing that I love about it is it's nice when I have friends come by, pat my back. Hey, did you get that shot? And then, I'm like sharing it with them as they're paddling back up to the lineup. And it just feels good to have that closeness.
So I ask every surf photographer I've had on, I ask them the same question. Do you remember the first time you took that big camera housing and got in the water? Do you remember that experience?
It's crazy. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, you got that housing with you, and yeah, and then it's a total different experience. When you're on a board, you're floating and you can see above the white water, to a point. But when you're so much closer to the ground, kind of you got to watch the current. You got to know where it's going. You got to know where you're going to go in and where you're going to come back out. And it takes some time to get used to.
We had a conversation with John Bilderbeck, not last weekend. I was actually talking to him, and I feel like when you guys see portrait photographers and stuff and they're stressing out, you're like, that's it. You didn't have to, there's a 15-foot wave about to crash in my head, but I still had to make sure the composition was right with the camera and my settings were good, and he's in focus and I still got it. You're worried about the fact that the light might not be perfect, It's another level. You have to be so confident in the water to allow yourself to be comfortable and relaxed enough to capture an image properly.
It is. You first have to know what settings and everything and learn that. But honestly, I've taken freediving courses. I train, paddle, I swim, I underwaters with weights. So there's a lot of training to build that confidence up. So then when you're in the water, you can be more focused on, capturing a good image.
Yeah. So it's become second nature. You already know you have the skill set to handle whatever the ocean gives you, but it allows you to relax enough to focus on the image you're trying to capture.
Exactly. I wouldn't recommend it to someone just jump in there with the housing and just start swimming. No, I wouldn't. I would say
Well, I'm sure there's lots of people that try who have never
There-
been in the ocean.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
And the ocean's no joke, you know what I mean? Like the ocean is a powerful and unforgiving thing.
It
You know,
is.
it's very dangerous. I mean, what you do is very dangerous. What these surfers do is very dangerous.
It's
You
very
know,
dangerous.
and then you combine you in the water just with your head and housing above the water, hoping that you're going to catch the surfer going the right direction and not right at you, you know, or getting caught under when a wave breaks on you. Like there is a lot of things to be prepared for. And I always hope that new surf photographers, they start on the beach and they start to learn the break. They start to learn how a surfer, a bodyboarder, how they flow on a wave so they can be out of the danger zone.
And you know, you can be out of the danger zone and you can prepare and do all the preparation you can, but the ocean will always win. Or and I will speak from experience. If we would have done this interview last month, I probably would have had to reschedule. Last month, I was at a spot here in Puerto Rico, survival on Ramey Base, and out of the blue, for some reason, I just couldn't breathe. So I lost control of my senses, and all my friends that were in the water were trying to get me to swim to the inside to get out with the impact, all the waves in the impact. Turned out it was just not the right time to do it. As I was paddling, I guess I got knocked over by 3 set waves. I was held under, and a wonderful surfer, wonderful human, Max Torres, grabbed me, pulled me out of the water. They had to get me breathing. It took a while to get me for breathing, is from what I've been told, and I was carried. Took about an hour to carry me to get me to the main beach, because where I'm at, there was just a trail that goes, rocky trail that goes to the surf spot that we were at. So keep it short or just bring it to the end. I mean, I survived. I'm here. But it's a lesson that even with all the preparation, um, things can sometimes go wrong.
I'm very, very glad that you're here. And I'm very glad you were with some people that knew how to get you out of that situation.
Yeah, all the best surfers were there. It was a good day, and I'm so grateful to all of them, every single one.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got years and years of experience. So if people are listening to this and they think that it doesn't happen to people who've been doing this for quite some time, then you're mistaken. I mean, anything can happen at any moment. So is it still one of your favorite things to shoot?
Of course. It took me a little bit to get back in. I was a little shaken from it. But I'm ready. I'm ready to go back. Just haven't had any good waves.
And you're in Puerto Rico, right? That's where you
I'm
are
in
now.
Puerto
You're
Rico.
back living in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast side of the island. That's where mainly most of the waves are west. And if you look up Aguadilla or Isabela, I live in Isabela, Puerto Rico, and that's basically where all main hotspots are.
Nice. So what else do you shoot besides surfing? Like, what are some of your other favorite things to capture?
Oh, I love photography. If I love to shoot portraits, I love to shoot nature, wildlife. I'll shoot an insect. I'll take a picture of an insect. I just like photography.
I love that, being multi-disciplined, not just, I don't like when people just classify themselves as one thing. I'm a wildlife photographer. You don't shoot anything else? Well, yeah, I shot some well, you're a photographer then. Instead of just closing in that door and putting yourself in this one box. You know, like I have friends who are, all they tell people is they're a wildlife photographer. That's it. That's all they say. And I look at them and I'm like, but you shoot people. I have a friend who travels, like he just did a 3-month survival program in the Amazon, right? He's crazy. He's the craziest dude I know, but he came back with these beautiful portraits of the indigenous on the land. So
that's wonderful. Yeah.
You know, being able to capture multiple disciplines. I mean, especially, you know, there's so many avenues. So somebody starts as a surf photographer, but there's still brand work you can do. And there's lots of stuff you can do that keep your, you know, that toe in the surf market or the outdoor market. But a lot of money's in the weddings and the portraits and the other things that people seem to forget about.
Yeah, a lot of money is in that, I guess. But, you know, for me, it's always been just to enjoy taking a picture, you know, whatever it is. If you ask me to take a picture and I'm inspired by your vision or I will photograph you.
That's an amazing thing. It's amazing when you can connect with somebody on the same wavelength and see the vision that they want to see captured, and you're able to produce it. You know, when they get that reaction of seeing, that's exactly what I wanted. You know, like it's such a cool feeling.
Just a few weeks ago, I was asked by a Jansu. Have you heard of Jansu? It's a water therapy, and someone asked me that was certified in Jansu if I could photograph them, and it was in a pool. She was giving water therapy to someone, and I'd never done it before, and I just went ahead and just said, "Yeah, I'm a photographer. I'll go ahead and do it." So I'm open to just sharing my photography with anybody who wants me to share, and sharing it with the world, basically.
And that's the best part, is you sharing your images with everyone so they can see some places that they may never visit and moments that they'll never see. And we're all documentarians of time. We're capturing a sliver of time before it's gone, right? It's like people look at a snowflake and there's no two snowflakes that look alike, right? So you could have 15 people shooting the same wave at the same time, and they're all going to look different.
They're all going to look different.
Well, the composition may be similar, but the capture and the motion is going to be different. Split seconds on the shutter make a huge difference in the final image.
They do.
Yeah, so it's so great to hear like how much you just love shooting photos. You know,
I can't express it anymore because you take a photo, right? You're happy while you're taking the photo. You're focused, and then if someone sees that you took the photo, they're going to be happy. So then you're going to be even more happy. You get home, you download the photo, then you're going to be even more happy when you see the photo. You tell your friend about it, they're happy, and then you're happy long after years later. If you're talking about the image and what you did or whatever, what the experience you had, that's complete, total bliss, happiness.
Yeah. And I was a guest on a podcast, and I was asked a question what I thought about, like what the camera meant to me. And I looked, and it took me a minute, but you know, photography, I came to this conclusion that photography is my therapy. So when I was going through a really rough time, 2015, my mom passed away from a failed lung transplant. I watched her in the hospital for a year deteriorate, and it was the hardest thing. I stopped working for the year. I was with my mom every single day, and it sucked. My mom was my best friend, and watching that happen was the worst thing that could have ever I lived through, because she was such a strong woman and got us away from the violence we were living. But towards the end, she looked at me, and for the first time in my life, she said, "You know what, Tyson, I'm super proud of you." And my parents weren't my dad never said it. My mom was not much of a I'm proud of you, you're doing good kind of person. She was like, hey, just do the right thing. That was kind of her mentality. When we moved to Canada, I was just about to turn 16 years old, and she'd been with my father at that point for 28 years. So she was in a whole new life, living her life the way she needed for her. I was grown enough to take care of myself. So it was kind of like we were roommates basically when we got here. I had pure freedom to do whatever I wanted. And that kind of backfired because I moved out at like just after I turned 16 and lived on my own, and because I knew everything. But later in life, when I got divorced from my first wife, my mom came back, and it was like everything I needed for support. She was there. So when she passed, I was kind of lost. I was already lost because I'd lost skateboarding, and that was my creative outlet. I couldn't do it anymore. My ankles just can't handle it. And then I lose my mom. And then early 2017, I get a call one day that my ex-wife had overdosed. And she was in a coma. And she's not going to make it. You got to get the kids and come to the hospital. So I'm in shock. I tell my current partner that, hey, she's overdosed. She's in a coma. Like, we got to take the kids and go to the hospital because I don't think she's going to make it. How do I break this story to my children? How do I just say, hey, she's sick, or do I just tell them the truth? And I'm more for telling the truth to my children. I don't want my kids to find out later that there's something different. I don't want to sugarcoat bad things in life, because if we sugarcoat everything, something else is going to happen. They're not going to understand. They're going to be like, well, so I said, hey, this happened. We're going to go see her. And then that was dragged on for 6 months in a coma. And multiple calls like, hey, you got to come. She's not going to make it through the night. And then we'd get the kids all worked up again and go take her, and she'd make it through. And after she passed in September of 2017, I was, even though we were apart for 10 years, I was lost because we had known each other since we were 15. We were great friends before we got together. And I was looking for some kind of outlet to save me, to help me clear my thoughts. So another year or so goes by, and I'm still struggling. I'm not living my life how I should. COVID comes into play, and 2020
made it worse.
Yeah, and the industry I was in shut down. So I was home for 3 months, and I had a camera I had bought for my daughter. And I live on what they call a floodplain. So it has a river that runs through it, but it floods out every winter. So I just decided I was going to start walking every day in there with with this camera. And I was walking through, and I remember just seeing like the fog in the tall grass, when you see the lower fog lay down. And I took a photo, and it was horrible. It was an auto. There was no depth of field. There was nothing, but I was like, okay, this is cool. That looks really neat. So every day I did that. And then I found long exposure water. So then I spent, a month trying to figure out how to do that. And I finally got one where the water looked milky. Nothing else was in focus, but the water looked milky. So I was like, and that was it. So then I started realizing that the connection I was feeling was between the shutter and my brain, was giving me the same feeling as cruising down the street on my skateboard. So it was getting those endorphins firing. And then I started to realize I was walking for 7-8 hours a day, capturing thousands of photos, spray and pray, just hope I got something that was decent. And I started to love the process of coming home. So when I started to look into the podcast, and the PHYS name has a long history with me and one of my best friends. It used to be a bicycle brand called Pedal Harder, You Sissy, for fixed gears. And it never went anywhere, but it means something to me because this guy, when I went through my divorce, was a new friend at the time, and he was the only one who stuck by me. Everybody else kind of, he's got no time for us because I'm raising 4 children. And I went from a career to working at a bicycle shop so I can be home with my kids. So I can't be out at the bar with you guys. I can't go out for dinners all the time because I don't have the money. So when I started this, I wanted to show him how much he still means to me as a close friend, as my brother, that I wanted to use the PHYS name. So I started to look for acronyms that I can make work. And that's where the photography heals your soul came from. And
Which is a beautiful acronym, because it does.
Oh, it's so many ways. It's just such a beautiful art form. And when I said that and it clicked and I decided, you know what, I wanted to do a podcast forever. Let's go. And I just jumped in to like February 18th is 2 years. And I've been pretty much nonstop since I started sharing stories like yours with amazing artists who just have a passion, but they have that connection where the photography is part of the healing journey. So it's such a beautiful connection. It's a beautiful story. So I just want to thank you for being open to share what it means to you through what you've been through. Those traumas of that fall, the seizures. Do you still have the seizures?
I do. Not like those old days when in the beginning they struggle with trying to find the right medicines that go with your body or to control them. But I've never. Life is one journey of many journeys, and I think that I wouldn't be where I am now and so confident of who I am if I wouldn't have suffered all these little struggles through life. We all have to struggle in life. That makes us human.
That was so well said. I tell my children when they call me and they're going through it, because I've got a 31-year-old daughter who's just going through a separation. She has 2 kids. I have my 24-year-old son who's still suffering from his mom's passing. Then I have my 23-year-old daughter who she just graduated last year with her bachelor's in motion picture arts degree. But she needed a break because she's been in school. She didn't stop. There was no break between high school and university. She's been go. And she's living the life, right? Like the minimum wage job, trying to pay rent and do all that. But, I see the work ethic that I've put out because I was never a talker about what I do or who I am. I was always about like action. Watch how hard I can work. Oh, you need me to work 7 days a week, 12-hour days? I'm there. I'm doing it. And I did that for 10 years with my kids. I worked 2 jobs, did whatever I could to keep a roof over our head. And when I went to my latest job, which I've been there about 5 years now, I said right up front, I'm going to show up, but when we open, I'm leaving when we close. There's no early mornings. There's no late nights. I want to come home because I want to actually enjoy my home. And then I started a podcast and all my free time was just gone, but hey, what, but what do you do, right?
What do you do? But you're doing something you love.
Yeah. Daniel, do you have any words of wisdom for the people listening?
Oh, wow. Don't give up on your dreams.
Nailed it. I 100% agree with you. I have a very, very large dream that with the help of Harlow and hopefully a few other brands, I'm going to start doing in January. Mm-hmm. It's called the Photography Heals Your Soul Portrait Project. And what it is it's a twist on everybody does like, the street portraits or studio portraits of people. My twist is I'm going to capture the people behind the camera. I'm going to capture the creators, and I'm going to share the story of the creator, because we are all uncomfortable in front of the camera. We can take beautiful images, but you put us in front of a camera and we're lost.
Trust me, I don't like and I get told to smile, I can forget to smile.
Yeah. And then the part of this is we call it the Harlow handoff. So Harlow has a light called the Soul 40, which they're sending me to use in the project. So I'm going to take the image of the creator and then I'm going to hand the light to them, and then they're going to capture another creator. And so it's going to have my image of capturing them on one page. The next page is going to be the image they captured of someone else. And then it will have a write-up at the bottom about them. And then I move on. So I'm going to try to do every single province in every state.
When do you plan on doing this?
I'm hoping to start it in January. I'm just trying to secure some financial support to help pay for the travel, because it's quite expensive. But the goal is to hit every state, every province, and just capture 15, 20, 30 creators in each place, because there's so many people, whether they're well known or they're just coming up, that are so talented.
Yeah.
And I think it would be, I think it's going to be an amazing multi release. So it's going to be a book. It's going to be, I'm going to shoot everything documentary style. So it's going to have broke down parts by different cities for YouTube. And then I'm going to try to do like a live, quick 5-minute chat with the people, whether with the creator and then the person they chose. So the person they chose, I'm still working on the final, whether it's a creator or it's an athlete or it's just a friend. But they kind of have the choice of who they want to capture.
I see.
It started off, I wanted to do a creator chain. So it was like, I took the first photo will be of me taken by my friend here in town, and then I will capture his image. But I originally wanted him to hand it to another creator in a different town, and then he captures their image, and then that creator hands it to a different town, and they capture. So it was like a chain. But the logistics of that would be a 10-year project.
It would be.
So I think I'm just going to leave whoever they want to capture up, whether it's their dog, right, or anything. So people will be like, "Whoa, this is what they saw and captured with this light." But it's an important meaning. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be. I'm predicting probably a 2 to 3 year project.
Yeah, it seems like it would be to do it. It would be a while, but you could, if you're consistent, you'll get it done.
Yep. And that's something that it was weird, because I was going to continue a portrait project that Harlow has going currently. Mm-hmm. I talked to a couple of people who are doing it, and I was like, nobody's doing that in Canada. Like, I can get photographers to go capture people on the street, no problem. So I approached them with that, and they're like, that's cool, but like, that doesn't really resonate with the brand and the meaning of the Life of PHYS. So then I started thinking about it deeper, and I approached Kieran with this, and she's like, I love it.
That's good. I love it too.
Yeah. So one day when I make it to Puerto Rico, we're going to capture your photo.
All right.
And then you can capture whatever it is you want to capture. And, the goal is to, in kind of a personal way, is to capture every single person who's been on my show. Every single person who's been willing to come on and just have a straight, authentic, open conversation about what they've struggled with and who they are. Not the gear they shoot or the books they sold or anything like that. I want to know about you. I wanted to know about your history, why photography means so much, how you found it. And I mean, you shared an amazing story with me today.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and that's why I wanted to do the interview, because it was a question that was very personal to me, and it still is. I wanted to do it for that reason, to share my story,
and I appreciate that.
And in the hopes too that I think every story inspires other people, and I think we do too little to just keep ourselves in our own little groups, when we should share our love and our experiences with other people, be a little bit more open to help other people. There's a lot of people out in this world in need, and a smile like that, I think I heard is one of the most beautiful things that a person can experience in their day, and a photo as well.
I have a few friends based in Portland and Spokane, Washington, who capture the homeless, but not in that way of, exploiting them. They know the people. They talk to the people up front. They know their names. They know their birthdays. They ask them if they need anything. And then they shoot everything on a 28 millimeter lens. So when they shoot their portrait, they are right there.
Wow.
And I'm originally from Portland. So for me, that's like, I can't wait to go home and actually be able to go on a walk with them and experience what they do. Because it's so important. Even here, like when I walk to work or ride my bike to work, I say hi to everyone. I say, good morning. Oh, I hope you have a great day. Or, as simple as, man, I wish it would stop raining. But sometimes that might be the only positive interaction a lot of people have all day. And that can change their outlook for that day. So, I truly appreciate this, Daniel. I appreciate you being willing to, just talk about your love of photography and talk about, what you've been through and give people an idea they're not alone.
I'm not, I have many plans, I'm planning, I'm going to India next month or in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And after that, I'm working with a non-government organization called Waves for Hope. And they have already a curriculum that helps kids in underprivileged communities with surf therapy, skateboard therapy, counseling. And some of these kids have mental health issues. And I want to teach a camera class to these kids and hope to inspire them to become photographers and get them out of their depression.
Man. So I don't know if you've heard any of the episodes. I also have another project called the Life of PHYS Project. And my goal is to get cameras in the hands of underprivileged and struggling youth. I'm Indigenous, so for me, in the Indigenous communities is super important, but also the low-income, at-risk Black communities. I have friends in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., New York, all ready to come on board. The goal, please, when you put your thing together, let me know.
I will,
and I would love to share some ideas that I have come up with. But the goal for me is I want to work with a brand like Camp Snap, who have cameras where you don't need a screen. They're digital. They can just charge it and shoot it. Hand me the camera. I'll download the images. I'll put them on a contact sheet. And then there's a group of about 25 of us who will sit down in a Zoom call with them and not critique their work, but just talk to them about their work. And the one or two children or teens who show the most desire to be a photographer, they will get a camera gifted from the group to them and a year of mentorship from someone on the panel.
That's wonderful.
So this has been a 5-year project. I've been trying to figure it out. And finally, with the support of a lot of my guests and the show's success, I've been able to open some doors to get some help. So I'm working on that. But if I can get myself in place with a brand that will be willing to help me with cameras, I would love, when you have your curriculum, I would love to pass that information on to you as well, because the camera changes lives.
It does. It does.
The camera changed my life. I'm a much better person today than I was 6 years ago before I picked the camera up. And if I can help anybody, especially children who are struggling because they think their world is around this negative circle that they live in, and if I can help open their eyes to what's outside of that by them snapping a shutter, I'm 100% behind it. The world needs more art.
It does. It needs more art. Art museums, access to, to abilities to just open up and take pictures and see things and not just stay inside all day long and worry about problems and things. I think world would be just a little bit better place if everyone had a camera.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy,
agree.
but I just think everyone should have a camera, even if you're not trying to be.
Yep. I think for you in Puerto Rico there with that Waves of Hope, how cool would it be to find a small space where these kids, you know, as at the end of the program, you have a small space where they can have a gallery.
That would
Right?
be that would
Just
be cool.
a couple pictures on the wall of their work from each of the kids, and it could have a write-up about the artist, and you could have, you could have coffee or something there, and people could just come by and take a look at their work, and the kids could experience that, because that's even more important, is when others look at the work and you can see them like, oh, I appreciate this. It's such a cool feeling.
That's a really cool feeling.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Daniel, I appreciate meeting you, and I appreciate now to call you a friend, and I look forward to watching your continued success. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help you with any of your projects. If you have anything coming out, books, events, let me know. And I'm going to start really pushing friends in the intros. So I'll introduce the people, and then I have a 30-second window where I used to put an ad that I want to talk about projects that are from people who are on the show that are coming up. So whether it's a gallery or there's a new book release or you're working on a project, I want to share the platform that's being built and established thanks to guests like yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to the Life of PHYS podcast. I hope today's conversation brought you insight, inspiration, or just a fresh perspective on the creative journey. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. For updates, behind-the-scene content, and more, please follow us on all social medias at LIFE_OF_PHYS. And don't forget to check out the show notes for links and resources from today's episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep living the life of creativity.